Hello, everyone. Welcome to Icons Behind Brand, and we are here with another episode of a very interesting series called Iconic Ads with Devleena and Saurabh. I'm your host, Devleena, and I'm happy to welcome our expert co host, the powerhouse, Mr. Saurabh Bajaj. Hi, Saurabh.
Hi. Hi, Devreena. Great to be here.
Welcome to IBP once again, Saurabh.
Absolutely.
And I'm excited to bring upon our guest for today, Mr. Gaurav Mehta, who is a Chief Marketing Officer at Zupee, who has also worked as a CMO at Car Dekho, Girnar, Soft, OLX, and other substantial company, and worked for many iconic campaigns.
अरे आंटी आंखें निकालती रहती कभी जूसर में जूस भी निकाल लिया करो। इत्तू सा था जब इस घर में आया था, 4 साल का हो गया हूँ और जूस नहीं निकालना, कम से कम मेरे को OLX पे निकाल दो।
ओ शक्ल देखी है अपनी। तुझे लेगा कौन? यूजलेस।
यूजलेस नहीं, यूजलेस। और इनको भी तो लिया ही आपने अपनी लाइफ में, मेरे को तो फिर भी कोई ना कोई ले ही जाएगा। अब मेरा फोटो खींचो और OLX पे फ्री में ऐड डालो। OLX.in बेच दे।
खरीदने वाले बहुत है आंटी, बेचने वाला चाहिए।
देखा, जूस पी पी के लाल हुआ पड़ा नया मालिक। बाय बाय, सी यू नेवर।
And today we are going to talk about one of those iconic campaigns. A very warm welcome to you, Gaurav.
Thanks, Devleena. Thanks, Saurabh, for inviting me today. Couldn't be more excited. I think it's always good fun to talk about all the good campaigns and all the initiatives that one has taken in the past. And then, yeah, I'm going to talk to like-minded people.
And out of
Absolutely.
many exciting campaigns which you have shared, Gaurav, so I think we have picked up one of the funniest, humorous ad. We will talk about it. Before we get into the ad commercial, I mean, our viewers and listeners would love to know about you first, and then we will get into your association with the brand.
Devleena, I've been working for about, 20 odd years now. Sounds like a lot, and I don't. Feels like a lot also at some time. I've been on internet for the past 14 years. Started my internet journey in 2008. Yahoo, 4.5 years, which was a mothership of all consumer internet at that time. Great learning experiences. In 2013 Jan, I joined OLX when it was starting off in India. I joined there as a head of marketing, set up the entire team. I was there for 4 years. I exited as chief marketing officer for OLX South Asia, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and also double hatted as a general manager OLX Pakistan. That is a very interesting learning experience altogether. Then December 2016, I joined Cardeco as the chief marketing and content officer for the group. That is a massive learning because I was really getting interested in content since the start of 2016. And this opportunity came calling. So apart from marketing, I also got a chance to learn about content, edit content, branded content in a big way, and also had to double hatted as a P&L owner of a couple of acquisitions that were made by Cardeco Group, which is where my learning about branded content really kicked in a big way because they were all in the content space, the acquisitions that had happened. So to monetize and find the perfect business model and product market fitment. So that is like a superb learning. So 4.5 years, Cardeco became the largest auto tech company in the country. Last year, June 2021, I joined Zupee, almost a year since then. It's been an insanely exciting ride. I think gaming is very, very exciting. And Zupee is going great guns, making the company from scratch. It's exciting time. So I think being part of the whole startup world for quite a long time and won't have it any other way.
Superb. So, Gaurav, a little bit about the campaign which we are going to talk about,
Sure.
Sharma OLX campaign, and about your association. That time, of course, you were the CMO, but your involvement with the campaign and agency, about the agency which was involved that time.
When I joined in Jan 2013, OLX is into C2C classified, customer to customer classified. Yeah, and it's a monopolistic industry. I mean, it's not an industry where 6 7 people can make 10 12 can have 10 12% market share and be profitable, have a good product market fitment. This was an inherently monopolistic industry to be in. So the first player has to take 70 80% market share to really have a good business model. When I joined, I think OLX is a bit smaller than Quicker, about 15 odd percent. We were about 40 people. Quicker was about 800 people. OLX was an international company. A lot of our product tech was in Argentina. Our marketing was happening from France, from New York. It was like all over the place. And which is why they said that we're going to have like a local team in place now. Product still being centralized, but marketing being local. So the first year, 2013, we understood that while the number of people using classified today is only this much, but our inherent belief, our playbook told us that many more people can use C2C classifieds. Selling your used goods was seen as a taboo कि तुम्हारे घर में कुछ गड़बड़ है, पैसा का कमी है, इसलिए you are selling your used things. And we understood that's why people don't, या तो कबाड़ी को दे देंगे, they'll give a hand me down, but people are not selling it. And we knew कि People have a lot of stuff at home that they can sell. They just don't know how to. And there's a cultural code against the whole industry. So we knew that while the current penetration of C2C classified is only this much, but it can be like huge. And which is where we knew that we had to educate the consumers, the target audience, that what is OLX, why should you use it, what's the problem that it can solve for you, and why is OLX the single best thing to do that. We started going in broadcast media, which is TV, radio. I think along with that, we were the only internet player at that time to invest on a sustained basis on TV, whereas the others were also investing, but they were investing more in performance media, search engine marketing, display, and so on and so forth. Because they were talking to this little cohort, and we were saying, the cohort to be much larger, we have to expand the audience, we have to expand the market, and which is where we went on TV, which is where we could talk to people who should be using OLX and seriously classified but are not. So we had to educate a lot. So 2013, we were investing sustained basis pay on TV. And what happened? We grew extremely fast because people saw value in what we were talking about. And people understood that maybe OLX and Flipkart also is doing something which is increasing the industry. And through data, we understood that Delhi is the largest market, double of Bombay, double of Bombay and Bangalore, triple of Chennai and Hyderabad, more than 3 times of Kolkata. And we were like, Bombay, Bangalore internet audience is equal to Delhi. Why is Delhi growing and why is the other not growing? We understood that what's working, which is TV, is not working as strongly in Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, and so on and so forth, as it's working in Delhi. So we understood we had to localize our marketing. In November 2013, I took that call that we have to localize our marketing. Nobody else was doing it that time. But that's the power of data. It gave us a very solid insight that what's working in Delhi is not working equally well in the rest of the country. So then we said there were two things that started to happen because of that insight. That we said we are going to localize our marketing. So if you have to talk to the Tamil audience, it's going to be made as per the cultural codes, as per the nuances, as per the target audience's sensibilities in Tamil. So we had Dhanush for our Tamil audience. Similarly for Andhra and Telangana, the Telugu speaking audience, we had Allu Arjun as a brand ambassador.
Yeah.
Sudeep for the Kannada speaking audience in Karnataka. I'm like Bombay, Maharashtra was primarily Hindi speaking, but there were some of the smaller markets like your Aurangabad and like, Amravati and like, some other markets had a larger population of Marathi. So we also localized and like got some TV stars to make like really OLX a truly local brand for these regions. And for the Hindi heartland, we got Kapil Sharma. Kapil had become big by then. He wasn't endorsing anything at that time, but we knew that his power to connect with the audiences was insane. I think sometimes when you are fighting cultural codes, as I mentioned earlier, humor is a great tool to do that. I mean, like, reduce the fear, the trepidation that a person would have against that particular industry by using humor. And that's why I'm like, Kapil Sharma became our brand ambassador. And if you look at the southern ads that we did with Allu Arjun or Dhanush or even like, Sudeep, they were all in the light vein, slice of life to slightly OTT also with Kapil Sharma. We made sure that there's nothing for people to be afraid about. And that's how, I mean, like in March or April, I don't remember, March 2014, I think we launched our first campaign with Kapil Sharma and other celebrities also. And, typically how brand ambassadors are used, they can be used as an endorser. कि मैं कपिल शर्मा हूँ and आप ये चीज खरीद लो, or you're part as a character. I mean, like, you're not yourself, but you're a part of it. We just took a call that we'll make brand ambassador the product itself. I mean, like, I'm like, how much can you fuse the brand ambassador's equity with the product? So we said, hey, we're going to make you a mixie, clock, a two-wheeler, and a TV. Yeah, these are the 4 ads that we did in that day. So he kind of, and Kapil Sharma being Kapil Sharma, he did more than justice to all the different propositions we threw to him. And this whole thought of like, really fusing Kapil with the product was not our initial thought. I think initially it was like pretty much like I think the first script that we had almost finalized was there's a game show happening, just like Kapil Sharma show, not game show, comedy show, and then Kapil is doing something, and that is the thing. And he said, how can we take it a notch higher? And which is when this particular campaign thought came. Let's amp it up. Let's go heavy and make him the product. And the product is telling the protagonist that why don't you sell me if you're using me lesser? Because that is the insight. There's so much of stuff that is lying in the homes, in our homes. And trust me, Devleena, Saurabh, I mean, if you were to look, and even I mean, like, they'll be like things that we are not using. So like, how can we use that insight, use the product as celebrity, and then have the product itself sell itself? So that's the creative thought. That is a user insight. That is a data that led us to believe that we should be localizing our marketing and so on and so forth.
A few of the questions I just want to dive into a little deeper now, right? And what you discussed as well. So starting from the top, the first thing which I liked what you talked about is the fact that it was probably a two-player market, right? You had a Quicker and you had an OLX. And it was more of a monopoly situation for OLX where it was 70-30. Yeah. Now, typically what happens in that cases is that one of them becomes, the leader and really focuses on category creation, while the other guy focuses on stealing share. Now, you clearly, seem to take on that mantle of saying that we are the category owner, we are the largest player. We need to focus on category creation. Right now, this leads to two challenges. The first challenge which it leads to is the fact that category creation is a high investment strategy. So you have to burn far more cash than the other guy. Secondly, if the second guy decides to very aggressively focus on steal share, yeah, that is, give better rates, provide more incentives, only focus on performance marketing, it can be something very painful because you can feel, what, I'm bringing in all these new users and this other guy is in a scot-free manner trying to steal them away from me. So was this ever a dilemma that sort of hit you guys, and was there some kind of debates internally saying that are we doing the right thing, are you going to get the right bottom line in this kind of a manner?
Oh, great observation, Saurabh. And couldn't agree more. I mean, like, just to clarify, I'm like, we were the smaller player in Jan 2013 by a factor of 15-20%. I mean, the end goal was 70-80% of the market share, be 6x of the player. That is the end goal. But in Jan 2013, we're about 15-16% smaller than them. And the amount of resources also was similar. Maybe they had a little bit more, not a lot, but then they had a little bit more to invest. But our playbooks were different. I mean, and that just came from our belief of, because we had seen it we were an international, I mean, OLX is in 40 different countries. So we had that advantage where we had seen how classifieds can be such a big category. So we had an inherent belief that anyone can trade in classifieds. Whereas maybe I'm sure that Quicker had phenomenally intelligent people over there also. So I'm not saying that they didn't have the access to this kind of a playbook, but maybe we believed in it a little bit more. And which is why I think going from OLX top management, my super boss, to Amar, my boss, who's the head of India Spotify. We launched Spotify 4 years back in India. And myself, I think all of us were convinced that maybe initially it will be a little bit of an investment that will be required from us. But then once and any UGC business sort of in internet, I'm like, our playbook, the way we thought was that once the network effects take place, then you don't even need to market, because then the network effects kind of like take over and then people come because of the network effects also. So if you have to ask me what is the primary goal, was that to get those network effects going in some of the categories, at least like mobile phones, cars, and household goods. Once that was done, then the network effects were spilling over into things like real estate. And then once that happened, then they were going into blue collar jobs also. If you were to track OLX journey, we never invested any money in real estate and jobs, but they became big categories for OLX because of the network effects going higher and higher. We knew which had to be categories we had to focus on: mobile phones and household goods. Those are the innermost categories. The next category was automobiles, which is cars and bikes, then real estate, and then blue collar jobs. Blue collar jobs / gig jobs / part-time jobs. That's the last concentric circle. But our entire focus in the first 1.5 months, 15 to 18 months of the whole category creation, we invested much more on the households and mobile phone as a category. And then this was the first major campaign that we did on automobile after doing something on mobile, and because that is the playbook.
Yeah, no, I saw this kind of a thing playing out in when I was in Cadbury's, where till the time even Bonvita, we tried to steal share versus Horlicks. We did stuff like nature and science and all of that stuff. In our mind, it was more efficient because we are trying to tell somebody why buy us, right? But it somehow never worked. But instead, when we took on the categories benefit, right, where we started talking about, this is why MFDs are had, because, you make your child more competitive, you run alongside, Tyari Jeetki and all of it. Suddenly the brand started moving. Because I think that, and my, belief in this is the fact that consumer doesn't really care about brands. The consumer doesn't care whether he has to buy from Quicker or from OLX. But if a brand does a good job of selling the category, that brand starts becoming synonymous with the category. If OLX is more insightful and trying to tell people why you should use the service, right, then it starts becoming synonymous, and then anybody else's effects also start sort of rubbing off with them.
I think you put whatever I said, I'm like in better words. I'm like that answering why is super critical. Because that's a subconscious question about any new category. Why should I use? How to is a higher order question to be. I'm like, and we were always answering why should you use, why should you use, why should you use, and give like many compelling reasons. Quicker initially was always like how to use, how to use, how to use. I'm not saying how to use was wrong. We also used to do like really low production testimonials, which is just about how to use. Regarding the problems that people had or questions that people had about, oh, like just to give you an example, how to accept money. So we had like our testimonials going here, चेक मत लो ड्राफ्ट मत लो कैश ले लो एंड सो ऑन सो फोर्थ ऐसे ऐड को पोस्ट करते हैं अच्छा प्राइस दोगे एकदम अच्छा प्राइस दोगे तो फिर ज्यादा लोग आपसे मिलेंगे सो वी वर एजुकेटिंग आल्सो एंड दैट वाज हाउ टू यूज बट दैट could only be relevant when you had convinced people about why to use because that's how people actually make the decision people will say कि हाँ हाँ मेरे को समझ आ गया कि भाई मेरे को यूज करना चाहिए लेकिन क्या करना चाहिए कैसे करना चाहिए that's the second order question when you try to build a relation on how to use people will say कि I'm not even in the state to use you why should I even like think about how to use yeah that's how category creation happens in my head also.
How is the battle played out between Quicker and OLX now? Any idea what is the market share position like?
They're pretty much done. And like Quicker has no, I mean, like I shouldn't be sounding arrogant about this, but then Quicker is not an option for people in a big way
Correct.
anymore. The valuation has dropped tremendously. Like still, I'm like, if you want to sell anything, OLX still continues to be the destination for selling. So
Correct.
whatever brand work, whatever category expansion happened from 13 to 16, still hands in hands 2 and 22. OLX is the largest player in the C2C even till today.
Other thing which is and that's really exciting because I remember ads from both, and I remember that quicker kind of a thing. You remember
Yeah.
all of this because both these guys are digital players and they invested on TV. Now this is again a bit of a counterintuitive question because in today's times you have everybody tom-tomming and saying TV is going to be dead very soon, and it's all about digital. And here you have two digital products which actually blasted television GRPs. So again, was this like a question around that time saying that, our services reside on digital? Why are we even doing TV? Shouldn't we just focus on digital ads?
Did come. But as I said, our playbook believe that the market is maybe 1,000 times bigger than the people using classifieds today. And it just like stemmed from that like insane amount of belief in that particular thing. We just had observed the industry, the category across the world. And there was nothing that was like stopping us from believing in that fact. And which is why, and then that time digital was just taking off because mobile internet also took off in a big way in 2014. I had been associated with mobile internet since 2008 at Yahoo. Every year I used to hear, okay, this is the year of mobile and never used to be. But 2014 was the first year where it became truly the age of mobile. So 6 years after I started on internet. So, and it was still a single screen internet consumption, right? Laptop and PCs pe hota tha. When it became on mobile, apps became big, data became cheaper, handsets became better. That's when internet took over. But till then, TV had the largest reach. I mean, like it still has, though digital is obviously making very strong strides. But at that time, the cost of participation obviously was much higher, much higher than normal performance marketing. But again, if you had to read, like, okay, if I want, if I could sell on classifieds platform, but I didn't even have a compelling reason, I won't even be on internet looking for options to sell. I won't be on Google how to sell my table. I won't even type that query. So I, as a person who should be selling, is not even like going on it online with an intent. Then your catchment area becomes so small. So we knew we had to have people ask that much questions. That's what we did.
Sure. So, while you would obviously have a view far more from an OLX lens, but if you were to just compare the two strategies from whatever you are aware of, right, of OLX and Quicker, and what do you think that you guys did right? What do you think they probably did wrong? Because they were about 15% larger than you then, right? So, is there any sort of macro learnings from that experience?
That why and how is a very big one. And like, we read the playbook right. They interpreted it incorrectly. The second thing was just like sweating your media sets a bit harder. Give you an example. I spoke about media mix modeling. Yeah, kind of like told me all the things I needed to know about my investment. And Quicker and OLX were investing the same kind of money. While OLX became more visible, but because we were investing in the right area. I'll give you an example. Quicker at a point of time, I think 2014 or 15 was the largest outdoor buyer in Delhi. I mean, like the largest buyer by any category, any brand, yeah.
Right.
And it's anecdotal, but then I'm like, so maybe quicker guys will have a different point of view. But then I think they were the largest buyer of outdoor in NCR. And my investments in NCR was zero on outdoor. Now, conventional marketing will tell you, here, you look outdoor pe spend kar rahe hain, you also should, right? But through media mix modeling, I have seen that whenever I invest in outdoors in Delhi, it doesn't give me any return. Whereas, say, investing in, say, Bangalore used to give me tremendously huge returns. At that time, outdoors were allowed in Bangalore. Bombay, I used to get very good returns on outdoors. So I used to invest heavily in outdoors in Bangalore and Bombay, but zero in Delhi. In spite of the competitor investing a lot in Delhi on outdoors. So we made the most of the resources that we had. We interpreted the playbook correctly. And I think we took a couple of gutsy calls, which are unheard of at that time. Like, to localize marketing is something that even today people haven't been able to do successfully. At that time, you have an upstart like OLX doing it, like, having like 4 or 5 different productions within the same campaign, 4 or 5 different insights, different storylines, different researchers, and pulling it off. These was just some calls that we took, which were unheard of. And even today, I don't think people do that in a big way. So those 2-3 reasons, I would say.
So, Saurabh, what are the 3 key takeaways and learnings from this particular conversation? This was like humor and it was like so much fun to talk about. So now I am curious to know about the learnings.
Right. No, it was a really cute ad and a great episode. I mean, I still get a chuckle when I see that lady buying that mixie on Kapil Sharma's head and, touching the fan when it moves, right? It was really funny to watch. But, coming to the top 3 learnings. Yeah, the top 3 learnings for me was, one, being able to understand when you are opening a niche category and you have a playbook, and the playbook is to say that I want to make this large. I believe there's a lot of opportunity there. So I'm not going to focus on the tactical benefits of why my brand is better. I'm not going to focus on how should you use my app so you can go out there, but rather focus on the bigger question of why and be the category driver. And I think if they have changed their fortunes, it's because they focus on the why and they focus on category creation and they focus on telling the consumer why they should drive this behavior change. And that needs really smart marketer to be able to unravel that story. So that was really the first part for me. The second part for me was the power of research and data. See, all of us marketers love the budgets and the glitzy stuff and your IPL and all of that. But a smart marketer measures everything that person does. And hence, I think the role of market mix modeling, not just at an overall level, but also at a city level, figuring out what's working, what's not, I think was really powerful. His example of how during the IPL, they were able to figure out that, this is probably not working for them because internet usage was going down, right? I think that was fascinating. Yeah. And hence, I think there's a lot of power in that. And finally, for me was the whole art and craft of it. For something which is as difficult a brand product as the fact that you're trying to tell somebody that go out there and start reselling stuff, doing it in a manner which is fun and engaging. And I think Kapil Sharma is being used beautifully by being made the product itself, right? So I think there's a lot of beautiful creative strategy at play here. And the improvisation on the set so that it becomes into a really memorable device and people get it. Because, a proof of the pudding is in the eating. You can have a great strategy, but if you can't execute it, there is no, pudding in your mouth to be tasted. And hence, just in summary, the first part of it is really about figuring out your brand task. Is it the how or the why of it? Second is being able to measure whatever you're doing to the right research techniques so that you are not just throwing money at a problem, but trying to figure out whether the money is working. And finally is the art and craft of the creativity. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. If a strategy which looks good on slides is not going to take you anywhere unless it is executed beautifully well. And in this case, we saw all of it happening. And clearly, OLX has reaped the benefits of it.
Wow. These are really very interesting, Saurabh, and it clearly conveys that behind every humorous ad there are a lot of learnings and a lot of conversation around, and this is a perfect example of that. And thank you for sharing such powerful insights with us here, and keep sharing that, Saurabh. I mean, it is so much helpful for our viewers and listeners here.
Great. Thank you so much, Devleena. It's been a great conversation and looking forward to next week.
Same here, Saurabh. Thank you so much.